Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. I'm Shamela Pullen. Here's what we have in the bulletin.
JFJ weighs in on Indicom's special report on police operations. Former mayor of Morant Bay faces additional charge. And later in sports, tough opening day for the West Indies in second test against India.
Thank you for joining us. Here are the details. We begin with news just in. A team from the Specialized Operations Unit, K9 Division, and the Operational Support Team is currently at the home of missing Jaden Smith. Jaden is a 7th grade student at Manchester High School. Today marks exactly 2 weeks since he was reported missing. We spoke with Jaden's relatives at the family's house in Wales District, South Manchester.
When I went to the hospital on Thursday, I didn't leave the hospital until after 7 Friday evening. I spent the whole day and the whole night at the hospital. It's when I came home, I realized Jaden was not home, and we left immediately. I called Mr. Gabriel to find out if there was any trip or something that I was not aware of that that he was coming home so late. Mr. Gabriel said no, and he's gonna call the cadet leader. He did. And they said they didn't have any cadet meeting. So we went to the police, we make a report Friday evening, and then we went to Mandeville and we drive up and down to find out if anybody see him or if he didn't get any taxi and want to come home. And when persons are saying that Jaden empty his savings.
Jamaicans for Justice JFJ has responded to Indicom's special report on planned police operations released on Thursday. The organization says several issues highlighted in the report are also concerns to them, reinforcing long-standing complaints received from the public.
A new Indicom report has flagged serious concerns in planned police operations, including the tampering or removal of CCTV footage, failure to secure suspects, and the inconsistent use of body-worn cameras. Executive Director of Jamaicans for Justice, Michael Jackson, reacted on Power 106's Morning Agenda Friday.
I think there are a few things in the report that are concerning to us. And first, let me say that JFJ welcomes this report because I think policy can only be changed by hard data. So I think it being presented in this format is something that the public should digest, and the police force itself should welcome and embrace the content of the report as it seeks to improve.
Ms. Jackson says the findings reflect similar complaints her organization has received.
Where you have women, the girlfriend, for example, being asked to leave the bedroom, and then a few minutes after, a gunshot is heard, and then that family member is killed. Just last week, we had a family come to JFJ where they indicated that the police came and they pulled down the wires for the CCTV camera, and then a few moments after, gunshot is heard, and then the family member is dead. And Indicom also raised that in their report.
She stressed the need for greater accountability and called for urgent reforms within the security forces.
Part that we know already, and we've already discussed on this program, for example, is the increasing numbers of planned operations that result in fatal shootings. But I guess tied to that is the Era Fugitive Apprehension Team, wherein a significant number, I believe 46% of those fatal shootings stemmed from that special team. While we can't make any pronouncement on any individual case because we have to await an investigation and so on, then JFJ will never make that pronouncement.
Anthony Atkinson, TVJ News.
The appointment of Claudette Thompson as Jamaica's new Director of Public Prosecutions has sparked a wave of responses. Among those extending congratulations is Executive Director of Jamaicans for Justice, Michael Jackson, who also highlighted several key issues she hopes the new DPP will prioritize.
Work with police fatal shootings, one of the things we've recognized is that the type of interaction and notice to families have not been to the level that we would want, where, for example, you're prosecuting a police fatal matter involving a rape victim, and the victim or the family is not aware of the status of the case. So I think a family liaison officer or some system to better interact and communicate with victims would be needed. I think more importantly for us, the legacy of Paula Llewellyn in terms of the transparency and communicating with the media, doing public education is one I would urge the new DPP to maintain.
Meanwhile, President of the Advocates Association of Jamaica, Tamika Harris, has called for legislative reforms to limit the DPP's authority in determining whether an accused person is tried by a judge alone or by a jury.
How an accused is tried. The DPP's role is not that. The DPP role is to make sure that the trial is fair and that the evidence is led in a balanced manner. That is her role.
Former Mayor of Morant Bay, Hubert Williams, is facing an additional charge of assault at common law. The councillor for the White Horses Division learned of the additional charges when he appeared before the St. Thomas Parish Court on Thursday.
What happened today, the matter was for mention. The Crown had indicated that they intend to lay some other charge arising from the same set of circumstances against one of the accused persons. As yet they haven't done that. And we had asked for disclosure of particular information contained in a station diary. It was produced and we were able to look at the document.
A trial date is set for February 12, 2026. Mr. Williams and his three co-accused, Leroy Pasley, a pastor, Kimberly Thompson, a justice of the peace, and Winston Thompson, a businessman, were accused with obstruction and assault after it was alleged that they obstructed a police officer during an incident in Danvers Pen on Friday, July 18. Head of the Manchester Police, Superintendent Kerry Duncan, is doubling down on curfews as a powerful tool in the fight against crime. Addressing a recent monthly municipal meeting, SSP Duncan pointed to a noticeable drop in violence and lawlessness in areas where curfews have been enforced, describing the change as both necessary and effective.
Those incidents that we saw last year, we thought it was imperative. Since all these incidents based on our analysis and our intelligence, were connected in some way or the other. And we believe that other persons would have been affected. So the curfew was applied for, and our Honourable Minister obliged us and granted the curfew last year.
SSP Duncan singled out Poros as a key example, noting that the area had been plagued by rising criminal activities. But since the introduction of curfews, there has been a marked shift in both community safety and police control.
And so we made the reassessment of what was happening in Poros, and in collaboration with the stakeholders, the business community and other community members, we opted to relieve the area of the curfew strategy. And that was going on and Poros would enjoy themselves down here.
The Old Harbour subdivision is reporting a drop in crime across the Old Harbour and Central Division areas. More in this report.
Acting Operations Officer Romario Rankin says this is due to strong community collaboration.
We have 16 this time. And last year we had 19, so we're seeing 12 of those have been cleared, and that is as a result of the partnership with our citizens. There are shootings within the Old Harbour space. We had 24 this time last year, representing now standing at 16. Some of those have been cleared as well. As we look into our robberies, we have 9 compared to a large number of what we had the same time last year. For the Central Village Zone, we have 7 murders compared to about 15 this time last year, where 9 of those have been cleared. Simple means we have cleared 2 for previous years. As also shooting for Central Village, we are now at 8 compared to about 20 at the same time last year. Majority of those have been cleared. And robberies, just 1 reported, and 2 reported, 1 of those has been cleared, and 1 is presently under investigation.
He also highlighted a major concern, the lack of road signage, which can lead to traffic congestion and pose serious risks to pedestrians.
The walking signs, the no parkings, the no vendings, I would love if we could have some of those being erected, as also the repainting of the walkways, as also the crossing signs for the pedestrians, especially in the center of the town where the clock is. I literally have no walking signs for indication.
In Central Village, ASP Rankin says with flooding and heavy rainfall occurring more frequently, the area is at increasing risk.
The bushing of the GPS lines that runs along that stretch, as also the cleaning of the gutter that runs in front of the station, that has been holding stagnant water, and with the weather climate conditions presently, we can expect flooding, and we wouldn't really want that.
Aliyah Bryant, TVJ News.
Mayor of Montego Bay, Richard Vernon, says plans are moving ahead for a transitional center in the parish. Speaking at the recent meeting of the St. James Municipal Corporation monthly meeting, Mayor Vernon said a survey was done in an effort to better understand the magnitude of homelessness across the parish, as well as to accelerate the government's investment in tackling homelessness.
The survey was between October 6 and 8, and the purpose was to understand the scope of homelessness and to provide solutions to the cases that we identified. It's a data-driven initiative, and we have to ensure that we continue to use this to monitor our persons who are in this unfortunate position, so that we can better understand the individual cases and provide solutions where they are concerned.
In the meantime, Mayor Vernon provided an update on the water infrastructure situation in Gutters.
Gutters is getting an upgrade that it deserves. The people of Gutters they have been in a very uncomfortable situation. The municipal corporation, through the minor water project upgrade, will be installing a solar water pump that will replace the diesel pump that is there, laying pipes to new sections of the community. This investment is approximately $2 million, and it is slated to be completed by November of this year.
Works Minister Robert Morgan has announced that about 60 bridges across Jamaica are slated for upgrades starting next year. Mr. Morgan noted that the bridges are currently in the pre-investment stage.
It's a very important program. It's the first time in the history of Jamaica that we will contemplate building 50 bridges plus 7 emergency bridges over a 2-year period. So we expect that by the middle of next year, we should be well on our way to building the first of the bridges.
In the meantime, repair work has started on other bridges that are currently in a state of disrepair.
You may be aware that Cabinet recently approved the Craig Mill Bridge, which is about $200 million. And I think, is it you, Mr. Woodbine? Mr. Woodbine, who has become an expert at bridges, is the contractor that has been assigned to that bridge. That's a very important bridge as well. And we also have another bridge in St. Catherine. What's the one in St. Catherine called? The Spring, and that is Mr. Woodbine again.
It's time for a break. Stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. It's now time for the Business Minute.
Regional real estate investment firm First Rock Real Estate Investments has announced its successful completion of the third development project with KFC Costa Rica. The project, undertaken through its wholly owned subsidiary First Rock Latam, includes a new modern restaurant and an advanced distribution center. Construction began in April and was completed in 2 phases. The restaurant was handed over in June, followed by the distribution center in August. First Rock says the project underscores its growing presence in Latin America and the Caribbean and its commitment to building long value through innovation and sustainable real estate investments. Further afield, the IRS is making changes that will affect federal taxes this year and next. The tax return line items updates announced Thursday are based on the effects of inflation, but also due to provisions in the new tax law enacted in July. How the adjustments affect every American has everything to do with how they deduct and take what their taxable income will be. But tax experts say many taxpayers will see some modest relief in their taxes because the deductions will lessen the impact of inflation. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Carrie Ann Simpson.
Time for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, the Suriname police have arrested a man after a 1-year-old baby was stabbed to death in a domestic dispute Thursday night. Officers responded to reports of a man assaulting his wife and children in a community on the outskirts of the capital. The child died despite prompt medical attention. Police say the suspect, a cousin of the child's father, was arrested at the scene while the mother and others were treated by emergency services. A full investigation is underway involving child protection services and victim support. And on the international scene, the government shutdown in the U.S. is now hitting federal workers' paychecks. Friday's checks will be smaller and the last until Congress agrees on a spending bill. Military personnel are set to miss their first paycheck on October 15, a first in U.S. history. About 1.4 million federal workers are now furloughed or working without pay as questions grow over whether they'll get back pay once the shutdown ends. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Aliyah Bryant.
We head to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have your midday sports reports.